Hey everyone, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com to give my predictions for the 2022 SummerSlam Premium Live Event Extravaganza from Nashville, Tennessee. There are 9 matches on the card. Overall, I am excited for the pay-per-view or Premium Live Event. It is SummerSlam. It is a new era in WWE. And the card looks solid. I give it 8 out of 10 as far as excitement goes. We'll start with a tag team match that was just added on Raw. The Mysterios, Rey and Dominik against the Judgement Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And this will be a no DQ match. I'm all for that. Now on Raw, the Mysterios won a regular tag team match against Judgement Day. It was the 20-year celebration of Rey Mysterio's WWE debut. 50-50 booking. I feel like Judgement Day will get the win here. And I think they should too. They did lose on Raw, and I'm not really a fan of them losing at all at this time when you're trying to build up that group. So I do think Judgment Day will pick up the win. Logan Paul versus The Miz. This match, very polarizing. Some people love Logan Paul being in WWE, others do not. I think with smoke and mirrors, they will make it entertaining. I think Logan Paul will hold his own. It is a singles match, though, not a tag team match, but I feel like Tommaso Ciampa will be involved, and we had a little tease on Raw where AJ Styles said if Logan Paul needs help, he'll be happy to help. I think that we'll see some interference and shenanigans. Logan Paul picks up the win here. I think this one's pretty clear. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship, the so-called final encounter with these two, and I'm not sure I'm buying that, but I'm hopeful with the draft we'll get one of them switching brands. Now, of course, this feud goes back to last year's SummerSlam, and they're still bringing it up that Becky Lynch beat her in the 20-something seconds, whatever it was. Bianca did win at WrestleMania, but I think Bianca has to get the win here. You're building towards the future, and Becky Lynch is still going to be a top contender for years to come, but I think Bianca needs this win. What I would do is have Bianca win, Becky Lynch goes over to SmackDown in the draft, turns babyface, get rid of this whole Lady Gaga / Elton John gimmick she's doing, and let her be the old school Becky Lynch and turn Ronda Rousey heel and start building up WrestleMania. Riddle versus Seth Franklin Rollins, or Freakin' Rollins. One-on-one grudge match, whatever you want to call it. Seth Rollins gave Riddle 2 curb stops at the end of Raw. One of them was on the steel steps. Now, Riddle lost the main event of Raw and then got beat up by Rollins. That would lead me to think Riddle will win since he needs the win. He's coming off that loss and getting beat down. On the other hand, I think of Seth Rollins and losing to Cody Rhodes, not winning Money in the Bank. This is an odd match because I feel like both guys really need the win in this one. I am going to say Riddle, but I'm not confident on this one. I could see it going either way. I'm just wondering, where does Seth Rollins go from here if he loses? But I suspect that they will continue the feud. I'm going to go with Riddle, but this one, if Rollins wins, I will not be surprised at all. This one's one of the more difficult ones to predict, in my opinion. Next up, we have Liv Morgan defending the SmackDown Women's title against Ronda Rousey. This is a really interesting one because people are very high on Liv Morgan right now. She's the women's champion. Is she really going to lose so quickly after winning it? But then again, Ronda Rousey is Ronda Rousey. Again, going back to earlier, I'm thinking long term here, Ronda Rousey has to be going heel. Liv Morgan is beloved, and I think it's time for Rousey to go heel. Maybe get a mouthpiece as a heel, maybe Paul Heyman, I don't know, but I'm going to say Liv Morgan retains, and maybe she beats Ronda and Ronda gets frustrated and snaps, or Rousey gets DQ'd or something like that. I'm going to say Liv Morgan retains, and we're going to start to see a Ronda Rousey heel turn leading up to an eventual WrestleMania match, one-on-one Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch, which I would think is the long-term goal for WrestleMania in Hollywood. And next up we have the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, defending against Street Profits, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins, with Double J, Jeff Jarrett, as the special guest referee. Jarrett being involved, I think, could lead to some shenanigans. The whole idea, though, was that it's going to be called down the middle and there's not going to be any crap going on. I would really like to see the Street Profits with one more run, but the Usos, they're on fire as the tag team champions. They've had this long run, and I'm not sure when it's going to end. If not the Street Profits, who does end up beating the Usos? Like, I cannot really think of any other teams. I know there's been talk about the Profits breaking up, but Montez Ford even said in an interview that he thinks there's still mileage with them as a tag team. I am going to go with a pick that I'm not very confident about. This one's another tough one to predict, but I am going to say the Street Profits win the titles, because I really don't know any other teams off the top of my head that can challenge the Usos and possibly beat them. Like, that's the problem. There's no other teams. Street Profits, they're red hot, and I say give them one more solid run as champions, maybe another 6 months, and then after WrestleMania, maybe split them apart and see what you can do with them as single stars. I'm going to say Street Profits win, but again, I'm not very confident on it. Bobby Lashley versus Theory for the United States Championship. Theory should not be losing. If you're building him up to potentially cash in Money in the Bank and win, he needs some wins. But at the same time, Bobby Lashley is a top-tier guy, the United States champion. I think Bobby Lashley retains. I don't know if it's going to be a clean win or Theory's going to get DQ'd or counted out or some crap like that, but I think Bobby Lashley wins, and that's kind of the gimmick WWE does, where the Money in the Bank holder loses a lot of matches before they cash in. It's goofy, in my opinion, but that's what they do. It is a new era though, so who knows. I'm going to say Bobby Lashley retains, though. And then Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. This should be a really fun match. The crowd will be very much into Pat McAfee. If WrestleMania is any indication, he's going to be one of the most over people on the entire show. And I'll enjoy this. Even though I'm not a big fan of the Happy Corbin gimmick, I think that this will be very entertaining. Pat McAfee wins. Again, when there's a celebrity match, it's pretty easy to call. Usually you just go with the celebrity. I think that's a safe prediction. Pat McAfee wins. Although didn't he lose to Adam Cole? I think he did, but Pat McAfee's going to win. And then finally, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match. There's been all the teases about Theory cashing in Money in the Bank, which makes me think it's not going to happen. I do not think he's going to successfully cash it in, at least. Maybe he does and fails. I mean, who knows? Anything's possible. But my prediction is Roman Reigns will leave the stadium. He will leave SummerSlam as the unified champion. Why? Because you have to look to Clash at the Castle. And to me, the best bet for Roman Reigns dropping the title is him losing to Drew McIntyre in the United Kingdom. That's going to be the big moment. Drew McIntyre, he was champion during the pandemic. and never really got that big win in front of a huge crowd. This is going to be it. My prediction is that Roman Reigns retains here, and then Drew McIntyre beats him at Clash at the Castle. You could have Brock Lesnar win and then do Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre again, but I think Reigns versus McIntyre for the title is the stronger match. And of course, they could do a triple threat. Maybe Brock Lesnar wins here and Roman Reigns gets his rematch, and you do a triple threat at Clash at the Castle. That is possible too. So again, I'm not super confident on this one. I mean, Brock Lesnar has lost. Now that I'm thinking about it, this is the interesting thing about doing this. I was thinking about my predictions a little bit, but now that I'm talking about it here on camera, I'm almost thinking Brock Lesnar wins here and they do a triple threat at Clash at the Castle. Like, I'm really torn. So screw it. I'm going with Brock Lesnar to leave SummerSlam as the champion because he lost at the Crown Jewel last year. He lost at WrestleMania. I think Brock Lesnar is going to beat him. I know it's not the big moment of the rising star winning the title and ending Roman Reigns' run, but like, you got to protect Brock Lesnar as your big attraction, and he lost those other two matches, and I know people are going to complain about it, but I'm leaning towards it now. Brock Lesnar wins, and they do a triple threat at Clash at the Castle. But if Roman Reigns wins, I'm totally fine with that too. There you have it, my predictions for SummerSlam. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and please spread the word. Tell a friend about NoDQ.com. Take care, everybody, and I will see you all next time.